In this video, we are going to add an EZbass and EZkeys part to the drum track we created in the previous videos. So up to this point, we've used Superior Drummer 3 and the AOT default kit, along with the Linear Fusion MIDI pack and the In the Flow song to create a drum part. And we've manipulated that drum part in Superior Drummer 3. I'm in Studio One 5 as my DAW, and we want to add EZbass and EZkeys. The first thing we're going to do is start adding in our MIDI grooves. We're going to go to the Modern Funk library, straight 4/4, and we're going to use Chase That Funk. We'll go ahead and add a bass part first, and we're going to follow the same format that we used for the drum track. And we can audition bass parts just like we can in Superior Drummer 3. And so in the first section, in the intro, we're going to use intro variation number 2. And I'll simply drag and drop into my song track. Now notice this is only 4 bars long. If we jump very quickly back to Superior Drummer 3, our first intro is 8 bars long, and then we have another intro for a total of 16 bars. So we want to make sure we match that up. Now for the next 4 bars of the intro, I'm going to use variation 5. And then we'll go ahead and jump to the next 8 bars. And we're going to do the same thing, intro 2 and intro variation 5. And that will equal our 16 bar intro. For verse, we're going to use verse 1. Verse variation 1, this is 8 bars long, which does match what we have in Superior Drummer 3. We should be up to measure 25 right now, which we are. And then for the pre-chorus, I'm going to jump to the pre-chorus section in Chase That Funk, and we're going to use pre-chorus variation 1. And this is short, only 4 bars, and we need 8, so we're going to use variation 5 for the second half of the pre-chorus. That gives us an 8 bar pre-chorus, and again we're checking back on our drums. We have an 8 bar pre-chorus there as well. Up to measure 33, staying in sync here, and we're good to go. Let me expand this out a bit so we have a bit more real estate in the song track. And we need to jump to the chorus, and for the first chorus we're going to use chorus variation 2. And then we're going to jump back to the verse section. We're actually going to use the same verse again, verse variation number 1. We'll make some adjustments later. Pre-chorus, this time we're going to do pre-chorus variation 2 and 4. Gives us a little bit of a different flavor in that pre-chorus. And then for the last chorus, we're going to do chorus number 5. Now this particular chorus has slap bass articulations. So it's going to help us really build into the end of the track. And then lastly, if you remember on our drum track in Superior Drummer 3, we ended with a bridge section. Now we don't have a bridge variation in EZbass, but what we're going to do is actually go back to the verse and use verse variation 5. If we take a listen to it, it's a very linear pattern. It will go nicely with our snare-centric drum part. And that takes us up to measure 73, which is where we're at with our drum track. Now notice I'm not listening to any of these because I know what parts that I want to use. So we're going to go very quickly through this, and we will go back and listen when we start making adjustments. So we'll listen to the drums, bass, and keys together. So for the EZkeys, we are going to use the same Modern Funk pack and the same song. Now this is intentional so that a lot of the rhythmic patterns and a lot of the chord structure from that song, because we're using the same song in both EZbass and EZkeys, they'll match very nicely together. We can still mix and match these to some extent, but I'm going to keep a lot of the variations the same. So for EZkeys, we're going to start with intro variation 1. These keys are a bit loud. I'm going to bring them down here. I could also bring them down in my DAW, but I'll just turn them down in EZkeys, and we'll bring that in. Variation 1 and then variation 5. That's 8 bars. Remember, we need 16 in our intro. Next, we're going to do variation 4, so a little bit different. And then variation 5 again. That brings us up to measure 17. There's our intro. Now we're going to go to the verse section, and we're going to do verse variation number 1, just like we did with EZbass. For the pre-chorus, we'll go to the pre-chorus section. In EZbass, we did variation 1 of 5. We're going to do the exact same thing, and these are shorter, 4 bars. So that gives us our 8 bar pre-chorus. And then for the first chorus, we're going to use variation 2. And that's what we did with EZbass as well. So we're using the same variations for the most part in EZkeys that we are in EZbass. Now for the next verse, we'll use variation 1 again. We're going to repeat that. And then for the pre-chorus, we did variation 2 and variation 4. We'll do the same thing here in EZkeys. For the chorus, we have variation 5. So if we listen to variation 5 in EZkeys, that's a bit busier as well. And we'll listen to that all together here in a moment. And then lastly, we need to end the track. We don't have a bridge section in EZkeys either, but we're going to use the same verse 5 variation. That takes us all the way up to measure 73. Now, let's just listen to a few different sections before making any adjustments. Jump to the verse, and I actually need to do this in my DAW because follow host is turned on everything. If I jump to measure 17 and hit play, it's still starting at the beginning because my cursor in my DAW is at the beginning. I'm going to jump to measure 17 here. You can see as I click around, EZbass will follow suit. So I'll click on measure 17. That's the beginning of the verse. We'll take a listen. And then we have the pre-chorus at measure 25. And then the chorus starting at measure 33. All right, now we're going to stop there. We can listen to the second half, but we will do that as we start making some changes. Now let me close EZkeys and expand out EZbass. Just so we have a bit more real estate, I'm going to keep the top and bottom portion of my DAW viewable so I can get to it very quickly. And you just heard the EZbass Modern Core library, but I'm actually going to change this to the newer release, the Gospel expansion. And we can take a quick listen to that. Let's go back to the beginning. I really like the sound of this bass along with what we're doing with the keys and the drums. This was the clean DI preset by default, but we're actually going to jump down to studio effects. Now we will add EZmix 2 later, but I really like this expansion pack, the Gospel EBX, along with the studio effects preset. Gives us a little bit of reverb, it gives us some chorus, and that just fits really nicely, I think, with this genre. If we listen to it by itself, just wanted to show you a couple adjustments there. I didn't really touch anything but the reverb and the chorus. I really like those effects. By the way, Option-Alt-Click to go back to the setting in the preset there. Now for EZkeys, I'm in the MIDI view right now, the MIDI browser. Let me jump back to the other interface for the actual instrument itself. This is the Electric MK1, and we're just in the default settings. This has several presets we can use too. We have some effects here. We may adjust those later, but right now I'm keeping it in the default state. Again, that fits really nicely for what we're doing here.